Here we go. Welcome to It's Not Just Black or White, a conversation from common people about everyday issues. Well, Mike, today we're going to talk about a deep subject. Yeah, we had a good friend of Keith and ours, mom, passed away a few days ago, and it seems like within our conversations we come up with this, quite often. I'm not going to give away our age, but we talk about getting older and the impact of getting older, and the older you get, the more you start losing people, your grandparents, your older aunts and uncles, and
parents.
Your parents, and it's one of those things that we understand you can't just talk about within 15 or 20 minutes, but we thought it would be appropriate today, with the passing of our friend's mom, to touch on this subject and see what we could do with it, see how far we could go with it, and let's see what we can do.
Yeah, it's it's one of those subjects, and Mike said, "Hey Keith, why don't we do a subject about death, about dying?" And I'm like, "Dude, this is like only our third show, and we want to touch that." But unfortunately, I've had over the last 3-4 years to deal with some death, some very close death to me and my family. My father has passed away. My uncle, who was my father's best friend, and also the other guy who basically raised me and taught me to be a man, along with my grandmother, passed away. They say death comes in threes, and over a 2-year period, I got hit with 3 deaths that were very, just like, put a real hand around your heart and squeeze real hard. And then just the other day, like Mike said, we had a friend, one of the families that's on the basketball team. She was dealing with some issues. One of the parents, the female, was dealing with some issues with her parent. Watching them go through the death process, and of dying of cancer. Another good friend of mine, his parent right before Christmas passed away of cancer, and just looking at that and the different ways of death, the different ways in which you deal with it, so it's a subject that's on our mind. Another good friend of ours, Mary, her father just passed away, and Mike, he was with me. Actually, when I say with me, he was physically there with me when my father passed away of a stroke, and it was determined that he wasn't gonna make it, and we were standing there just waiting for him to expire. I'm going to tell you, one of the hardest things I've ever had to do in my life. My father died at the young age of 64, and as I progress in age, and Mike also, realized that 64 is not that far away, and you think about dying young, you think about living too long. Another scenario we have as an example, my wife's parents, her father is 93 years old. He's lived a long life, and things are starting to break down a little bit, and not having the quality of life. This is a guy that golfed every day of his life, and he always told me, he said, "Keith, as long as I'm shooting my age, I'm good," and then things happen, and you're not able to shoot your age, you're not able to play the game any longer, and it's one of those things we look at, and death, it's something we all got to deal with. How do you deal with it? How do we talk about it?
Well, I think everybody deals with it in their own way, and I will say that I am very lucky to still have both my parents, but like he said, I was with them when his dad was there in the hospital bed dying, and it killed me, and I can't imagine, with his sister and his whole family and him being there, how do you, I can't, it's the first time I've ever seen anybody, dying right in front of my eyes, and it was
my first time too.
It was very eye-opening, it was very traumatic for me. Like that when my wife's father passed away, her mom called us at like noon to come down and see him, and they live in Chicago, and I was driving 110 miles an hour just so my wife could get there to see her dad before he passed away, and we didn't make it. He probably passed away like a half an hour before we got there. you know. So, you know, we walked in and he was lying on his bed and, you know, looked very peaceful. But, you know, I tried so hard, you know, because I knew, you know, with being with Keith, what that meant to maybe, you know, hold your dad's hand before he passed away, or, you know, maybe being able to say I love you, or, you know, whatever the case may be. And, you know, I tried so hard to get her down there, but, you know, we just couldn't make it.
Yeah, like I said, this is a tough subject, and we talk about it, and it brings back memories that I really don't like thinking of. Standing there looking at my dad, and you know, it's, you know, just to give you kind of a little scenario of what happened. My father was a Saturday afternoon right before deer hunting season. Went out the week before, sighted his gun, put up the tree stand and all that stuff. Caught a little cold, and so we thought. And next thing we know, the following weekend, during that week, my mom said, you know what? If you're not feeling better, you're not going to go hunting the following weekend. Well, you know, so he went to work a couple days and he came back home and he just wasn't feeling better. And by that Sunday, talked to him earlier during the day, and they were going to come over and have dinner and stuff. And next thing I know, I thought they were calling to tell us that they were on their way over. My mom was calling saying, you know, your dad's laying here. I don't know if he's had a heart attack, a stroke, or what. This was a Sunday. This was a Saturday. And, you know, 5 o'clock on Saturday afternoon, this just shows you how quick things can change in your life. And by, I guess, 1 o'clock, well, actually, 5:30 Sunday morning, you know, we're making decisions about whether or not my dad's going to live or die. You know, whether or not he's obviously was going to be a vegetable for the rest of his life, and we all knew that that's not the way that he'd want to live. My dad was a real man. Mike knows my dad, and you know, and just knows that's not what he would have wanted. But you know, you go from a situation of saying, okay, well, you know, no matter what, my dad made it to the emergency room and he's going to be okay, or he's going to be somewhat okay, to the point of where you're making a decision about whether or not he lives or dies. And next thing you know, by 5:30 that afternoon, he's dead.
And I you know, like Keith was saying, it goes so fast. I remember when my grandma Jake died. You know, my daughter was just born, Megan, and we came up here to Minnesota to see her. She was staying up here with my parents, and we came up to see her, and you know, she was holding Megan, and you know, it was all fun. She was fine, and she went back down to Chicago where they live, and a couple weeks later she got a cough. A couple months later she had cancer, and she passed away. And you know, that was so you know, our grandmother was, you know, she was like a mother to all of our cousins and uncles, and you know, she was like that family. You know, she was like that bonding agent that keeps, you know, like your mom, that keeps families together. You know, she was like, I mean, it was that funeral was so emotional that, you know, it was just incredible. And you know, I mean, we have our family golf tournaments named after her today because, you know, she meant so much to us. And you know, it's just you know, people deal with death and dying in so many different ways, and it's, you know, like he said, you never know when death is coming. You know, it could happen to you at any time. And I think for me, the biggest thing is to make sure that the people you know that you love, that you tell them you love them, and you tell them what they mean to you. So if something does happen, they know that. And there's a lot of times where, you know, we don't get the chance to do that.
That's true. That is very true. You know, and we know that, you know, life's not promised. Everybody says that. We all say that. And I think we take that a little bit too lightly. And then, you know, Mike, I just kind of changed the subject a little bit, because not only have I had people that have died way too young, but I've had people that have died way too young, but they've killed themselves. I've had two people in my life that are very close. My best friend killed himself, and then my business partner killed himself, you know, after we went through a merger acquisition. And you know, it's just
yeah, it's
I don't know what to say. I mean, it's like, you know, I'll say that I still can't understand why anybody would want to kill themselves. Life gets rough. We all know it gets rough. However, we all know once you sleep on things, they seem to get a little bit better, or they don't seem as big as it was that day. You know what I mean?
I think that sometimes things just get so stressful and so overwhelming that you think that that's the only option that you have, and you know, honestly, it's really not. Somebody out there loves you, and somebody out there, you know, will give you a hug and try to do their best they can, you know, to help you through whatever you're going through. And you know, I've had a couple experiences with that, and you know, it's just terrible how, you know,
it's selfish is what it is. I mean, it is. I say that because they don't think about their immediate families. Forget me as a friend, you know, I'm not concerned about myself. I'm concerned about the wives, the kids that they left behind. And I know, for instance, one of my friends, you know, who was my business partner also, we had a three-way partnership, and it was actually her husband who killed himself. And you know, I look at what she's doing now for their kid, who is only 17 years old, the therapy that he has gone through and has to go through, you know, in order to deal with that situation. You know,
you're only hurting the people that you leave behind.
You really are. But you know what? I guess hey, we don't know.
But you're not in those shoes, so it's hard for you to say, you know, what. You know, certain people's boiling points.
I know I like to live, and you know, I know I want to live, so that, you know, I can't relate to how somebody gets there, but like I say, there's a lot of different things that make the world go round.
Absolutely. So I think a couple of questions that we have for you, Keith's, you know, question was, you know, how long do you want to live? How long do you think it's okay? You know, do you want to live to be your 80 or 90? I've always said that I want to be 111. Because I want to live to see the tricentennial in 2076.
You got a goal there, buddy.
And I know that's way overboard. I get that, but you know, that's, and I can say that now because it's easy. But you know, when is too early? When is too late? That's one question. And I think for me, my question is I want you guys to go out. Whoever's looking at this, whoever sees this, to go out and
ask yourself the question.
Tell those family members you love them. Tell your wife and your kids and your grandparents and your aunts and uncles, and you know what, whoever it is, let them know how you feel about them, because you just never know, you know, when the end's going to be. And you know, I know for me, I've had instances where I, you know, wasn't able to tell certain people, you know, what I thought and what I was feeling, and you know, try to make things right. And you know, I wasn't able to do that, and it still haunts me now. And you know, so I just hope you guys go out there and you know, tell those people you love them. And also come see us on Facebook. We got a page up. I want you guys to put, you know, shout outs to your family members who may be deceased, or your family members who, you know, you just want to say, hey, I love you, you know, whatever it may be. Get that out there, and you know,
that's good, Mike.
Let's get some positivity going out of this. And you know what, this won't be the last time we talk about this.
No,
I know that, because it's such a you know, a deep subject. But you know, with the passing of a friend, we just wanted to you know, talk about it and start this dialogue. So you know, I think we did a good job.
Kind of get everybody thinking about it, you know. Get everybody thinking, and you know, it's
never too late to say I love you to anybody.
It really isn't. And you know, to the family that we're talking about, you know,
we love you guys. We're thinking about you, and you know that. And
you know, it's a good one. It's good. So once again, I'm Keith.
I'm Mike.
And this is It's Not Just Black or White.
We're out.